This will be my last Monday message. I began these Monday messages at the height of the sadness and anxiety in our city. Uh, we had recently closed the synagogue and we were unable to connect physically. And I thought that it would be a good idea for me to connect even more intensely with you virtually. And so I began these Monday messages unsolicited and unrequested by you. I popped into your uh, mailbox some time during the day on Monday. And now, as we begin summer, I think it's time for us to step back a little bit. It's a good time to end these Monday messages. It's a good time for you to reconnect with yourself, with your family, recharge your batteries. And it's a good time for rabbis as well to stop a little bit, slow down a little bit, have time to read, have time to think, have time to write, have time to reflect. And that's what we'll be doing, as well as preparing for the fall. During the summer months, there will always be a rabbi in the synagogue. We will conduct Shabbat services, and there will always be somebody who will be available to you to consult with. And if, heaven forbid, there is an emergency or a tragedy in your family, of course, we are available to you during the day and during the evening. And our senior staff and our educators as well will be working hard over the summer to prepare for the fall. And speaking of the fall, and in the light of recent comments by the president in determining that houses of worship are essential, I thought this would be a good time for me to share with you my views. I've said from the beginning, from the day I arrived at Stephen Wise, that I consider synagogues to be essential enterprises. I have emphasized to you that in the absence of synagogues, we are unable to sustain Jewish life in North America. If we allow our relationship with synagogues to atrophy, it's a sure thing, as night follows the day, that our relationship to Judaism will atrophy. We do not have to be experts in actuarial science. We don't need high degrees in mathematics. We know, and you know, that those who have a weak or no relationship with synagogues, their Jewish identity atrophies. And I say the same thing about all religious institutions, churches, synagogues, mosques. I've always felt that these are essential enterprises because in a society that so values accomplishment and achievement and is so intensely focused on the accumulation of things, influence, prestige, material things, it's important that there is an institution in our society that focuses on the life of the Spirit, that reminds us of the fundamental values that make life worth living, why we live at all, the values of honesty, charity, mercy, liberty, justice, truth, righteousness, honor. What more essential purpose is there? In particular, in times of crisis for society, that there be some institution that is devoted to reaching out to people who feel anxious, worried, vulnerable, and assuring them and reassuring them that they are not alone, that there are others who care for them, and that they will be okay, their families will be okay, and our society will prevail. So, guided by this worldview, by this principle of the essential nature of synagogues, I want to share with you my current thinking with respect to the opening of the synagogue in the weeks and the months ahead. And to emphasize, despite these culture wars that the President of the United States seems to be fomenting, and what a shocking thing that is even to say, that rather than seeking to unite us in times of crisis, the president is trying to divide us. But in the light of that, let me emphasize, in case you didn't know, we did not open our doors this weekend. We will not open our doors on Shavuot, and we will continue to keep our doors closed as long as state and local authorities instruct us that the synagogue should be closed and offers us guidelines on when it is prudent to open the synagogue and how to do so. When these guidelines do appear, and when city and state authorities encourage religious institutions, houses of worship, to reopen, we will. We'll reopen the sanctuary for Shabbat services. That might be in a matter of weeks. We have plenty of space in the sanctuary for social distancing. We may ask you to wear masks. We will ask you to sit far apart from one another. We might ask you questions when you enter the building. But if we are able to open, we will. And it will be so heartwarming and uplifting for us to finally see congregants in the sanctuary again. After all, when restaurants get the clearance to open, even at limited capacity, 50%, even 25%, when department stores, when liquor stores, when bars are given the approval to begin to reopen, when hair salons, yes, please, thank God, hair salons, I'm the first to get a haircut. When they're allowed to reopen, even at limited capacity, what is the logic in not reopening a 900-seat sanctuary with 2 huge floors? Whether on Shabbat, B'nai Mitzvah, or High Holy Days, we're actively planning for this. And if it proves possible, even in the weeks ahead, we will. This is all exceedingly complicated, complex, and very hard. First of all, we simply don't have enough information to make concrete decisions. We don't know, and even experts don't know, what our situation will be like in 3 weeks, let alone in 3 months. Secondly, none of us have experienced living through this kind of pandemic before. There is no roadmap that guides us on how to do this. We are doing our best, but in truth, everyone, all individuals and institutions are taking one step after another, unsure of the next step. Whatever we decide to do as an institution, you should exercise all of your instinct and follow your instincts. If you're in a higher risk group and we're open, do not come if you do not feel comfortable in interacting in a public setting, even if the city is beginning to open up. Don't come. Follow your instincts. As I often say on Yom Kippur, if you're pregnant, you are forbidden to fast. The same goes with all matters of health. The value of life precedes almost every other value in Judaism. Given our moral obligation to you, we will do our best. We will consult with the best scientific minds. We will be guided by science, by evidence, by reason. We have some tremendous experts in our own congregation that we will rely on, who have amazing experiences. We've already spent literally hundreds of hours in planning contingencies and how we may reopen in the fall. Now, each of us has a different risk tolerance. If what we decide to do makes you still not comfortable, after all, hair salons may open and you may still not be comfortable in going to the salon. If that applies to the synagogue, follow your instincts and do not attend. We will, in any case, attend to you. We'll continue to be in touch with you through cutting-edge virtual technology, and we'll use old technology. Remember, there was something called a phone that when people wanted to communicate with each other, they would pick up the phone. That was during the age of primitive man. Nonetheless, that too is available to us. I want to wish you a very good and pleasant summer. Our plans include opening opening the schools if the other schools are open in the city by the fall. No doubt that might look different. Nonetheless, if we are available to open, we will. Behavior in the sanctuary might look different. But whether or not we reopen at all, and in the manner that we do reopen, we will continue our online interaction and study. Our planning will continue throughout the summer, and we will write you and call you and provide you with the best of our thinking on a periodic basis. I want to wish you all a good and relaxing summer. I hope, despite the circumstances, that you find time for personal reflection, that you even find a measure of serenity and tranquility. May you find some carefree days. And despite these hardships, may you come to be grateful in the recognition that life is a great and a good gift.